past.
Nice. You wrote that themselves.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
Oh, so good.
Thank you. I try. So before we dive deeper into this psychological thriller, James, tell me, like, what was it about this that intrigued you enough to pick it to talk about?
Funny enough, we were talking about I think we were talking about Jason Bateman. I know we've been talking about him a lot in more recent because of The Outsider.
Yeah.
And I knew this was one of his movies. And I think we brought up Joel Edgerton as well.
Uh-huh.
And then we started talking about it, and I was looking through his filmography, and you had brought up The Gift, and I was like, you're like, oh, that's a good movie, and that's his directorial debut. And I, in my head, I was like, oh, Wes thinks this is a good movie, so I've never seen it, and I like Jason Bateman is amazing in his serious roles. So let's check
Ozark.
this one out. Yeah, I love Ozark. Check that out too. But in my head, I had already decided that was going to be my pick.
Okay.
And then you had.
I think I asked you,
have
you
like,
seen it?
Like, have you seen it? Like, I was like, oh, that's going to be my pick for next week. And then, so that's the main reason is why, basically just because Jason Bateman's like been in my head the last couple of weeks with The Outsider.
Yeah.
I love anything pretty much that Joel has been in as well, and just to see that this is his directorial debut and his writing, and he wrote this movie as well.
Produced it.
Yeah, which is insane. I mean, it's funny that we come across these actors. So we've done them a lot on our episodes. That these guys we find out can actually write, direct, produce great movies.
Do it all.
Yeah, they do it all. And it's just to me, it's insane that he actually, did this. I'm not saying anything negative about him.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just I think it's really cool, and it's refreshing to see an actor kind of take that role on, and even star in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Not just stay behind the camera and direct, but just for him to do that, it's a huge accomplishment. And I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is Rotten Tomatoes, 92. Take it with a grain of salt, but this movie is amazing.
But yeah, think about how this is an indie film. It's Blumhouse, right? Didn't take it wasn't shot for very much.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely relies on just the acting. It's a very dialogue-driven film.
And the three main people, they hold this movie together.
They do. Yeah. They're so good.
Yes,
you can tell like the dedication to these roles is there, and it's believable. There's not a bad moment, I think, in this, which is so impressive. But going back to the Rotten Tomatoes, I feel like they're so hard on things that you would think that this was. It's amazing how well received this was for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody said that this was boring. Nobody said, nothing happens. It's amazing to me. But I think that's a testament to Joel Edgerton's vision, and the fact that this is truly like a solid film.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's impressive because it's very, I would say, a little bit of a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
But it does keep you. It's not boring.
No, because the whole time in the movie, up to the point where you meet Gordo, after that, you're kind of this weird, like, unsettling feeling you have throughout the rest of the entire movie.
Like,
even
what's
when
going on here?
Even when it's like dull moments, or when they're just talking, or doing whatever, like shopping. It's like, oh, like it's you're in the back of your head. You're still thinking like, what is this guy's motive? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
It has
understand.
a quietness to it, like almost you could probably compare to maybe like the Coen Brothers, like No Country for Old Men, where there's just this unsettling feeling in the air that entire time. No matter where you are, in every scene, it's there. You know what I mean?
You can't really sit still through this movie. Especially because even the soundtrack in this is just kind of like it keeps you on the anxiety end.
Yeah.
Like it's just so it was so well placed, so well edited. The cinematic in this one is super good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I really liked the scenes where I forget his wife's name. You remember her name? Robin.
Mm-hmm.
When she's home alone a lot because Jason Bateman's character works in an office. Simon, Jesus.
Simon Says, come on, man.
Simon Says, I know. I just watched this movie like 2 hours ago. And the two scenes where she's in the shower and she'll hear something, and then she'll wipe away the fog, the condensation that's on the glass, and she looks through to see in the hallway no one's there. And then the second time she does it later on when she's kind of feeling that weird scariness, but it's in a dream. But it's still, I mean, those scenes were really creepy because, I mean, being in a shower, you're totally vulnerable anyways. And it's just...
That was probably, I would probably say that's like a montage to Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
right?
I could say that, yeah.
Shower
yeah.
scene.
One of the most famous scenes in cinema.
The OG horror.
And how would you compare this movie to the first time you saw it? Because I know you've seen it before, right?
Yeah. I saw it in the theaters, and I've seen it a few times since it's been out, and every single time it hits the same amount of effectiveness. I feel like the build-up is there. It's just incredibly good.
Yeah,
like
this is it. Like, everything there's like you said, there's I guess like you said, you would consider it a slow burn film, but there's that aspect of like a slow burn film where you're like, it's kind of like there's dull moments and boring moments or whatever. But
where you're like, did this have to be in here?
Yeah, but that's not there.
The writing in this, everything comes full circle.
Yes.
Everything that happens is for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Was this an original by him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Straight from him.
Wow. This is real. It's funny you guys say slow burn. I didn't think this at all. To me, this wasn't a slow burn. Like, I thought this movie was like a roller coaster ride, especially because it was such in the beginning. You're like, why are they like it just kind of didn't make sense in the beginning. You're like, why are they looking at houses and all this stuff? But in the title it says a thriller, but then it's kind of like like when you start off going into a roller coaster, it's like kind of building up, and it just hits this point where you're just like going full throttle in this movie. And that's how I felt. This movie felt like it was like a roller coaster ride with twists and turns and stuff that you really didn't. You're like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what twist is this? Like, you think it's what Chris, not Bradford Rodriguez, says the other day. It's kind of like, it's kind of like it's the kind of like Parasite, where you don't expect stuff to go that way. And I went in here blind because I didn't want to see the trailer. I really wanted to see the movie. To me, it was like, what's going on here? Like, it was so good. I was like, man, these twists and turns and everything. I was just like, oh my god, this is a perfect movie.
It's like when you put a pot of water on the stove and it's too high, and then the water and the foam just fucking starts erupting over.
Yeah.
That's like what this movie is.
Yeah.
Is because when shit hits the fan, boy, things go way deep south.
Yeah.
Like, to the worst extent that they could. Like, it's like almost, to me, this is not something that you can guess. You can't.
No, not at all.
Get the big twist. What the actual gift is in this is insanely genius.
Yeah.
Like, in an era of Hollywood where there's no originality, this is super refreshing that this came out, especially at the time that it did. It's like an original idea from somebody who's never really done, and has no really credible things as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And to make something so polished and so effective and pretty damn scary.
Yeah.
For not really relying on cheap gags. There's no real gore, anything. It's all tension and like real acting. You know what I mean?
And it's also there's that aspect of your house, like you being your house home invasion, and that's a horrible feeling.
Yes,
to know that your home where you're supposed to feel the safest,
you're vulnerable.
Is
the most vulnerable place in the
you're supposed
world.
to be at ease at your house, but when you feel like someone's breaking in or messing with something inside your house, that's a horrible feeling. And you do feel that, especially with Robin, when she has those moments where she's like, I think someone was in the house.
Because she's an innocent.
Yeah, and it's insane. And then you get, in the beginning, Simon, you think his character is for the most part pure.
Yeah.
A good-hearted person. And then towards the end where you find out what has transpired in the past, with Gordo, you get to see that transformation of how much of an asshole he is, or how controlling, and how she says, like, you were a bully when you were a kid, you're still a bully now.
Yeah.
And then she slaps him, and he's like, oh, well, I need an apology now. I think I wasn't expecting that from when I remember watching this trailer years ago when it came out. I wasn't expecting Jason or Simon to be that person, and to see that transformation from like the beginning of how, like, he was working hard to get his job, to get a promotion, and you find out what he did to get the promotion. It's crazy. And then how he treats Simon when he treats Gordo when he goes to apologize after he's shit-faced.
Yeah.
And then he basically bullies him again and pushes his face into the cement, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And
because
I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but it's just those are just things that are popping out into my head, and that when I'm thinking about the development of the character of Simon.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of iconic stuff. I think this is a great anti-bullying film.
Oh yeah,
much like a better version of Valentine, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially,
And I like that line that Gordo says.
Simon says.
Not that one. No, when he says, he goes like, I apologize. Like, do you accept my apology? And he's like, well, basically he says like,
he's like, you might be done with the past, but the past isn't done with you. And he's like, what is that supposed to mean? And he starts getting all mad. And he goes, it's a saying.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, what do you mean by it?
Yeah. I love the fact that the Gordo character was so innocent, so like well-hearted, and the fact that like kindness brought out the worst in Simon. Like it literally made it felt and it looked like Simon was like really disgusted by the fact that this person was so kind to him.
Yeah.
And it brought in the movie itself and the character, you could just see like, why am I getting gifts? Why am I getting, like, he's questioning this. Like it felt like him getting gifts was like him getting tortured. That's how I looked at it. It looked like it was like, oh man, like this guy's weird. Like, why is he giving me gifts? Why is he putting coil fish, like expensive coil fish in my pond?
And
like,
you don't realize why he feels that way, because you don't find out what he did to Gordo until later on.
That's the thing, is they set you up in the beginning to make you think, oh, Gordo is like the standard stalker trope.
Yeah.
Who is going to terrorize these guys for, I don't know, no real reason, or whatever. And then as you kind of go along with the story, it starts to unfold that the real villain is Simon. Is Simon.
Yeah.
And what's going on in the beginning is Gordo, right? Or Gordon, he's trying to, I feel like, kind of patch things over.
Yeah.
He's reaching out, and he runs into obviously to Robin and Simon in a department store.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. We went to middle school together, and we were peers or whatever. I'd love to get together. And then Simon, being nice, he's like, all right, let's swap numbers and maybe we can catch up and stuff. And then at that point, Gordo starts to show up, and he's giving the